I want to ask you about the Epstein files. Have you seen the Epstein files?
I have not reviewed the entirety of it myself, but a good amount.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that Mr. Epstein trafficked young women, including, in some instances, minors, for sex to himself?
That was specifically the allegations in the 2018 indictment in the Southern District of New York.
Okay. Who else did he traffic these young women to?
In terms of what the investigation, again, going back to 2008, Mr. Acosta, who limited the investigation and limited the search warrants and limited the parameters of the investigation, the only thing we are able to speak to publicly, because he was given a non-prosecution agreement by Mr. Acosta, is that first time period from, I believe, don't quote me on this, 97 to 2001-ish. And then when the Trump administration courageously reopened it.
Excuse me for interrupting, but I'm going to run out of time. You've seen most of the files. Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
5 minutes ago, a long-delayed reckoning began in Washington. Senator John N. Kennedy stepped toward the microphone. He was holding a small USB flash drive. He raised the USB, pointed it toward the camera so everyone could see it clearly, and said, "This USB contains emails, signatures, and instructions that explain why the Epstein files have been kept from the public for 10 years. And these documents could completely change America's political history today." In that moment, the atmosphere in the room shifted instantly. Movement began around Kash Patel. Patel gestured toward his lawyers. Kennedy continued, "This USB also contains classification categories showing why certain names are protected. Mr. Patel, if you wish, you may also explain what these categories mean." Patel's face tightened. His jaw muscles clenched. Everyone in the room was thinking the same thing. After this conversation, America could be shaken. In the hall of 165 people, not a sound could be heard. The camera zoomed in on Patel's face. He squinted, slid his hands toward the edge of the table, and turned his head slightly toward his lawyer. A brief whisper. Kennedy, by contrast, was the complete opposite. Calm, prepared, controlled, confident. Who is John N. Kennedy? If you only know John N. Kennedy as a senator who asks tough questions, then you don't know the full picture. Kennedy has a profile far beyond that of a Louisiana senator. He is a lawyer educated at Oxford University. He began his career as a public prosecutor. He has handled dozens of high-profile cases. Over the years, he has worked with both Democratic and Republican administrations. Kennedy never asks a question he does not already know the answer to. If he does not have documents in hand, he does not turn on his microphone. And if he places a file on the table, that file has already been verified. There is a well-known truth about him in the Senate. If John Kennedy is speaking, the facts are about to come out. And today, sitting across from FBI Director Kash Patel, Kennedy did not have only questions. He had evidence. Everything began the night before. At 11:10 p.m., an anonymous package was left at Kennedy's Washington office. Inside the package were a USB flash drive, several photocopied documents, and a short handwritten note. The note read, "These files have been circulating within the system for 10 years, but have never been made public. You will see the reason for yourself." Kennedy's team immediately took action. The metadata of the documents was examined. Dates were cross-checked for verification. Email sender addresses were confirmed. The conclusion was clear. These documents were not fake. At 4:30 a.m., Kennedy decided to reveal this information during today's hearing. At 8 a.m., social media began to stir. Anonymous accounts started spreading the topic rapidly. Journalists tweeted. Networks went live. Everyone knew something was going to happen today. At 10:30 a.m., the room began to fill. Journalists, cameras, security personnel. There were no empty seats left. And at 10:45, Kash Patel walked in. This time, he was accompanied by 6 lawyers. There was a tired expression on his face, and anxiety could be seen in his eyes. Without making eye contact with anyone, he went straight to his seat. Kennedy, meanwhile, presented a very different image. His suit was neat, his posture was upright, his documents were neatly arranged on the table, and of course, that USB flash drive. An Oxford-educated lawyer, a senator who had won dozens of high-profile cases throughout his career. And today, FBI Director Kash Patel was sitting across from him. The first document was placed on the table. Kennedy leaned toward the microphone. Mr. Patel, I have an email in front of me. The date is August 14th, 2019. Sender, New York Federal District Court Records Unit. Subject, request for the public release of certain Epstein documents. 6 different media outlets had applied for access to these documents. All were rejected. The reason given: national security and the protection of important individuals. Kennedy paused and added, "This rejection decision was made in coordination with your department. The document contains a reference code belonging to your unit." Patel first whispered to the lawyer standing behind him. Then he leaned toward the microphone. At that time, many documents were being evaluated within procedural frameworks. I don't recall the details right now. Kennedy smiled and produced the second document. January 2020. Political sensitivity note. The document read, "Some of the names in the Epstein files are currently on active duty. Their public disclosure could have political consequences. A controlled and gradual release of documents is recommended." Kennedy directed the document toward Patel. "Mr. Patel, who wrote this note?" Patel remained silent. His lawyer intervened. Kennedy did not step back. "This correspondence is part of a process that obstructs the public's right to information, and your department played an active role in that process." The room began to stir. Then came the third document, March 2021. Direct instruction. The email was clear. All public disclosure requests regarding the Epstein files will be suspended. This instruction has been issued as a result of high-level coordination. Turning toward the cameras, Kennedy asked, "Mr. Patel, did you receive this email? And if you did, why did you not object to the suspension?" Patel's face was bright red. His lawyer intervened again. "My client was obligated to follow procedures at that time." Kennedy asked, "Is there a procedure more important than the public's right to know?" Patel still did not answer, but the most critical document had not yet appeared. What follows will not end here today. Documents will be released, and new questions will emerge. If you want to follow this process without interruption, don't forget to subscribe. Now let's continue. The fourth document, the most critical of them all. The title of the document: Document Access Restriction Approval Date, September 2021. And at the bottom, a signature. Kennedy held the document up to the camera. "Mr. Patel, is this your signature?" The room erupted. Journalists jumped to their feet. Cameras pushed forward. The sound of the gavel cut through the noise. Patel froze. His lawyer stepped in again. "We question how this document was obtained and its legal validity." Kennedy responded, "This document was taken from the official archives. The signature is here. I am asking again, is this your signature, Mr. Patel?" Patel looked away. He was silent again. No answer. And then the protection lists appeared. Code A, Code B, Code C, Code D. A total of 47 names, but there were no real names, only reference numbers. So who had access to that archive? This department, and the man sitting here today, Kash Patel. Kennedy delivered his final line. "Who are these 47 people? We will find out tomorrow." In summary, Epstein files were repeatedly blocked in 2019, 2020, and 2021. Political sensitivity and national security were cited as reasons. Patel's department played an active role in this process. There is a list classifying 47 people under protection. And today, Patel answered none of the questions. These are not theories. Every point is backed by documents. Tomorrow, these documents will be released.
If you want to see what happens next, subscribe now. The documents are released tomorrow. And this story does not end here.